It's by far the most prestigious individual trophy in football, yet it's often surrounded by controversy due to many injustices it has caused. So now, let's discover together 7 players who were robbed of the Ballon d'Or. Number 1, Franck Ribéry in 2013.
Pour moi, c'est comme si c'était un vol, ça. C'est comme si c'était un vol.
Une injustice.
Ouais.
Franck Ribéry's strong words summed up the 2013 Ballon d'Or perfectly. After an exceptional year with the French national team and Bayern Munich, Ribéry, at 30 years old, was at the peak of his form. With every touch of the ball and every burst of acceleration, he posed a constant threat to the opposing team. He even made Messi fall with one of his dribbles. With 22 goals scored in 2013, Franck wasn't exactly a pure goal scorer, but he had the keys of the game, both in his club and with the national team. Known for breaking defenders' line, Ribéry had the ability to eliminate any defender one-on-one. That same year, Kaiser Franck won 4 trophies with Bayern Munich: the Bundesliga, the German Cup, the UEFA Super Cup, and most importantly, the Champions League. With such a rich trophy cabinet and exceptional individual technique, the French forward was for many the favorite to win the Ballon d'Or. But 2013 seemed to be the year of statistics, because Ronaldo's 66 goals and Messi's 44 weighed much more than Ribéry's 22. And what changed everything for many people was Cristiano Ronaldo's hat-trick against Sweden, which qualified Portugal for the World Cup.
Le ballon magnifique pour Cristiano Ronaldo face à Isaacson. Nouveau Cristiano Ronaldo qui va tenter sa chance et qui va marquer. Cristiano Ronaldo est encore là et le record de Paoletta peut-être. Le voilà, le 47e but en sélection pour Cristiano Ronaldo.
Let's remember, this match was not initially supposed to be taken into account, but the Ballon d'Or voting deadline, which was originally set for November 15, was extended to November 28 due to a lack of voters. And with about 28% of the votes, CR7 ended up winning the 2013 Ballon d'Or. The worst part is that Ribéry finished 3rd, behind Messi, and the reason behind all this, the lack of support from the French public and media for Ribéry. Number 2, Andrès Iniesta in 2010. While he was a key player in Barcelona's squad, Iniesta was considered the best midfielder in the world at that time. He won La Liga, the Spanish Cup, and above all, the World Cup. It was with any doubt the best year of his entire career. On top of that, he scored the only goal of the final against the Netherlands, allowing Spain to win the first World Cup in its history. But despite all these achievements, it was ultimately Messi, his Barcelona teammate, who was awarded the Ballon d'Or in 2010. And even though Argentina had been eliminated in the quarterfinals of the World Cup, it was mainly Messi's 60 goals in 2010 and his outstanding individual performances that tipped the balance in his favor. Because of this, many people criticized the new voting process, which seemed to favor individual performance over major collective trophies, such as the World Cup. For many, the fact that Iniesta didn't win the 2010 Ballon d'Or, despite his brilliant year on all fronts, was a true injustice. Number 3, Robert Lewandowski in 2020. Unlike the others, it wasn't a player who stole the Ballon d'Or from him, because that year there was no vote. In 2020, COVID-19, a very dangerous virus, spread all over the world. The consequence? The temporary suspension of all leagues and competitions for about 5 months. That year, Lewandowski was at his prime, scoring 55 goals in 47 matches across all competitions. In terms of collective trophies, Leva won everything possible, achieving a historic sextuple with Bayern Munich, Champions League, Bundesliga, German Cup, everything. Naturally, the Polish striker was the big favorite to win the Ballon d'Or, but against all expectations, France Football cancelled the 2020 Ballon d'Or. They justified this decision by saying that the suspension of certain leagues, especially Ligue 1, and the modified Champions League format with no second legs would distort the results. According to them, players like Neymar and Mbappe, who played fewer matches due to Ligue 1 being stopped, would be disadvantaged compared to players from leagues that resumed. In 2021, when Messi won the Ballon d'Or, he had to say this to Lewandowski about the cancelled 2020 edition.
Creo que te mereces tu Balón de Oro, que el año pasado todo el mundo está de acuerdo que fuiste el ganador y creo que Franck Fútbol debería darte tu Balón de Oro que te mereces y tenerlo como te lo mereciste y te lo ganaste el año pasado, así que ojalá Franck Fútbol pueda otorgártelo y tenerlo en tu casa.
Number 4, Virgil Van Dijk in 2019. Since arriving at Liverpool, Van Dijk literally transformed the team's defense, bringing a stability they had lacked for years. In 2019, he was widely recognized as the best center defender in the world, and was not dribbled past even once during that year. The Dutch defender's presence in the Premier League was immediately left, as Liverpool finished the 2018-19 season with the best defense in the league, conceding only 22 goals. His defensive solidity allowed Jurgen Klopp to play attacking football with Salah and Mane on the wings while remaining secure at the back. That year, Liverpool finished second in the Premier League with 97 points, just 1 point behind champions Manchester City. However, they did win the Champions League, their first in 14 years. Van Dijk was the missing piece of the puzzle. Let's not forget that Liverpool had lost the Champions League final to Real Madrid the previous year. On top of that, Van Dijk was named UEFA Men's Player of the Year in 2019, a prize that takes into account performances in the Champions League and European competitions. But at the Ballon d'Or ceremony, it wasn't Van Dijk or Mane who had also a great year and reached the Africa Cup of Nations final, losing to Algeria, but Messi, who won La Liga and scored 51 goals in 2019, who took home his 6th Ballon d'Or. For many, Van Dijk's defensive contributions were overshadowed by Messi's individual brilliance, especially since he had carried Barca to the Champions League semi-finals that year. Number 5. Thierry Henry in 2003. What can we say about him? In 2003, Henry was simply unstoppable. With 42 goals and 26 assists that year, TT was walking on water, whether with the Gunners or with Les Bleus. He also won the Confederations Cup with France that same year. Yet, it was Pavel Nedved who won the 2003 Ballon d'Or, largely because he had won Serie A with Juventus and reached the Champions League final, which they lost 3-2 against AC Milan. Certainly, Nedved was a key player for Juve, but he was suspended for the final. Given Henry's individual statistics, he should have won it, but neither he or Maldini apparently managed to convince the voters. Number 6. Zinedine Zidane in 2000. No need to introduce him. While still playing for Juventus, Zizou delighted the Bianconeri fans. He won Euro 2000 with France and was so good that he was even named the player of the tournament. Naturally, Zidane was the favorite to win his 2nd Ballon d'Or in 2000, but as usual, Zizou ruined everything because of his darker side. Just a few weeks before the Ballon d'Or ceremony, Juventus played Hamburg in the Champions League. During a clash with an opponent, Zidane lost his temper and headbutted him. The result, Luis Figo, who had a relatively empty season with Barca, ended up winning the 2000 Ballon d'Or despite not being a favorite at all. Number 7. Cristiano Ronaldo in 2018. The nomination of Messi and Ronaldo over the Ballon d'Or, which last 10 years, finally ended in 2018. That year, Luka Modric won the Ballon d'Or at the age of 33. He had won the Champions League with Real Madrid and reached the World Cup final with Croatia. Modric surprised everyone by winning the 2018 Ballon d'Or. Certainly, he was the most important player for his country and helped Madrid secure their 13th Champions League title at that time. He was also named UEFA Men's Player of the Year, but for many, it was Cristiano Ronaldo who deserved to win the Ballon d'Or, having scored over 50 goals in 2018, including that unforgettable bicycle kick. But it wasn't enough for the Portuguese star to win his 6th Ballon d'Or, and Portugal's elimination in the round of 16 at the World Cup also did not work in his favor. And what do you think of these injustices? Were they really justified? Write your answers in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, I highly recommend watching this one about the 2025 Ballon d'Or contenders. Ciao!